Hello everyone, welcome back to Sports Khabri with me, Aradhi and Rishi, and we're here to preview the two semi-final fixtures in the UEFA Champions League. We had exciting knockout fixtures in the quarterfinal stage. Crazy things happened. We had Barcelona giving up a two-goal lead to eventually lose by 2 goals to PSG. We had so many incredible games. I think the Atletico Dortmund game was also fantastic. Bayern beat Arsenal by a goal, and then you had Real Madrid, Manchester City that went to penalty. So, host of really good fixtures. Predictions didn't quite work out for you, Rishi, in the end. In the previous round, let's see if it does this time.
As a
So
United fan, I couldn't have asked for more, Rahul. So I'm more than happy.
fair enough. Arsenal and Man City both going out. But yeah, bro, Adi. First up is Real Madrid Bayern. The sort of bigger clash is what is being spoken about. I mean, widely at least. So yeah, what happens here?
Quality wise, both teams have, huge talent. You look at, the midfield when it comes to Bayern, they have players like Musiala, Sabitzer, and not Sabitzer, Leimer, and who else plays? Goretzka. And then you look at Madrid's midfield, it's going to be most likely Kroos. Uh, Chouameni most likely will end up playing because Militao is back from injury. And maybe Modric is going to start, I'm not sure.
Or
But
Fede,
uh, yeah, like one of those, like you never know. So like it's gonna be a midfield battle in my opinion. That's where the game is gonna lie, because how each team controls, he sustains the pressure and also controls the transition, because both teams like hitting on the transition. You look at Bayern, they have speedy players like Sane. Even Kane's very good in his counter attacking because he can find the wide players like Sane and Koman, or who is going to play the left wing. Maybe even Musiala might play, but they are pacey players. That's what I'm trying to say. And same thing with Real Madrid. They're also very counter attacking side with again Bellingham, Rodrigo, and who else finishes. So it's going to be a very mostly is going to come down to a midfield battle. Which team can try to suffocate which team, and most likely screen the defense and help transitioning those you know transitions of counter attacks. But just from my side, I think Bayern can slightly edge through to the finals, because uh, it's just more of a tactical setup, and I feel like that team can adapt a bit more, because Tuchel, in my opinion, just finds I feel like they're more tactically dynamic. Like you see both the legs versus Arsenal, uh, even against Lazio, even though they were poor in the first game against Lazio. Both games they tactically adapted to the teams. They suffocated both the teams. Generally, how Arsenal used to play, they couldn't play in the both legs of the semi-finals, and I feel like that's what's going to happen again. Try to break down as many counter attacks as possible from the Real Madrid side, and just a bit, I leaning towards Bayern Munich.
I agree with Adi, just in the sense that I think the tactical setup will help Bayern. Like you said, I mean, Rishi, we spoke about this earlier as well, that Bayern didn't particularly come at Arsenal, and I think that will help them in this game. I think them not really going for it will help them eventually. I don't think Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid would want to utilize the pace and space in behind, which probably Bayern will not give them. And if it does come to those one or two opportunities, we've seen Harry Kane in the past. He's quite prolific, and he can take those chances. And that number nine makes a difference. I think at the end of the day, for me at least, against in this battle, and that's why I still think that Bayern have the edge. Although I don't think they were particularly great against Arsenal either. Across both legs. So yeah, it's still up in the air, but I just favor Bayern. Just. So yeah, Rishi, what do you think happens here?
to be honest, I wasn't really that convinced by Bayern in the over both the legs. Like traditionally, they have been a team that would like a lot more of the ball. Like although Tuchel is a very tactically, like Adi said, a tactically dynamic coach who likes to play as per the opposition, like opponents, as per he'd like to exploit their weaknesses. But it's not like they didn't have the quality of players to like go toe to toe with Arsenal to dominate the ball. And like you said, like Real Madrid are a team who likes to sit back, make the opponents come into their half, and then exploit the space in behind. You could see they were trying really hard to do that against City also. Although, like, I felt they could have been much more clinical. Like, you saw they were having Bellingham up front, who was almost playing as a number nine. Like, he had a few occasions where the first touch, when, like, he had a few brilliant first touches, but then the midfielders didn't like move up the field fast enough for him to hold up and maybe release it on the second touch. Like, that I feel, as Real Madrid would tend to play higher versus Bayern because Bayern will sit back. I think that will come into the picture where Bellingham, who plays almost as a nine, will get to link up with the midfielders, with the wingers more. And yeah, I think Real Madrid overall have the experience, have the what do you say, the guile to play in the big stages. They are not particularly tactically drilled. Like, you have the experienced lads like Tony Cruz and Modric, who are equipped enough to know to adapt themselves. So I feel Real Madrid just about edged through. Although the loss of Carvajal is a huge factor, him being the club captain, being the stalwart defender, but I think
Mm.
they just about edged.
Yeah, and Rishi, you mentioned Kaval, the only suspension in this game. But we've seen Vasquez come and do a job. Did play the Clasico in Carval's absence. So you think that's not much of an issue at right back for them?
Dude, thing is, again, like even in Clasico, uh, when you look at Real Madrid as an entire team, I mean, you have to include Vasquez in it. You could see them like, as a team, even though they're, pretty good on those counter attacks, which they did against Barca again, sustaining each pressure and then hitting on them on the counter. I just feel like overall they don't have the right balance, in my opinion. Even with Barcelona,
Mm.
who played a lot of youngsters that game and also lost Frankie de Jong in the game, they controlled most of the possession that game, and uh, to be fair, they were unlucky to lose at El Clasico, and you could see that Real Madrid really do struggle defending their own final third. Also, one more thing is when you look at Modric, Kroos, I mean, they've been legends of the game, been doing it in the UCL for a long time. But you need those attackers, that final, precision attacking quality, which they do have, to be fair, Real Madrid, in terms of in terms of Vinicius, Bellingham, and Rodrigo. But I don't know, dude. It's just like UCL is a game of two legs, and I feel like the advantage is for Bayern is like they're going to play the first leg at home,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's where that's going to be a difference, because I feel like Bayern can get a good lead in terms of get 2-3 goals, and when you look at how Real Madrid set up against Real Madrid, I mean against City, dude, it was, I mean, pretty uninspiring. I mean,
Yeah,
they
it
had
was.
it was uh, they scored the first goal, but like overall the game, they just sat in their own box. Like overall, you
Exactly.
look at you say Bellingham didn't have anyone to pass it to, but it was because they were just pinned and they were not great enough in the transition, surprisingly. And City pinned them the entire game. They conceded 33 shots in the entire game. Also, they were pretty lucky to go through to the semi-finals. They've shown that they can always do it. But yeah, I mean, Carval missing the leg will be a huge thing. But you look at the game again, Nacho was the thing with what was advantages for them is because City, they have a lot of players when they have to play a D block. Haaland is their only target, and you subdue Haaland, it's going to be tough for them to get through, a bunch of players in front of the box. Like you could see how Carval uh, kept marking Haaland the entire game and was so tight. That's going to be the difference, because here Harry Kane will drop in deep, and if Muller also starts, both of them are going to play like striker. So you have two players who can play in between the defense. So if both of them drop deep, you can again find players like Sane, and I don't know who will play left wing, to be fair. I think Koman's injured, I'm not sure. And there's the thing, I just feel,
Nabri's declared fit.
yeah, I
Okay.
feel like this is going to be a precision game, and that's where Bayern's is going to take the lead because of the first leg. I feel like playing home, they can take in a good lead and then, do whatever, Real Madrid basically did against City and just
Yeah, sit back. Absolutely. Fair enough. Adi edging towards Bayern. Rishi, you're saying Madrid.
Yeah,
Just I'm
just
saying
about.
Bayern. But we go to PSG Dortmund, which is the sort of I don't know, dude. I don't know what to call this, but the unexpected semi-final, I think many would say. So, yeah, dude. What are you expecting from PSG Dortmund? Because I don't know what to say about PSG. They're such a weird team to even talk about. I don't even know. I don't know what to say. But yeah, what is your take? PSG Dortmund.
For me again, dude, as you said, this is actually kind of unique semi-final. PSG Dortmund, I don't think anyone would have thought they would end up coming, especially after what happened the first leg for both the teams, you know. But again, it's tough to call, to be fair, in terms of both teams are weirdly in a new, I mean, in terms of like unexpected position. So I don't know, dude. It's actually a tough thing to call. So you can just
Yeah.
think like, the star players should show up for each team, like maybe Mbappe coming in, showing up for, PSG. He's been doing that this entire, all the Sociedad against Barca too, and now semi-finals. And he's been there here before, compared to Dortmund. I think this is the first time Dortmund are in the semi-finals since like 2011.
2013
Yeah, whatever. Like since the last time they played, who did they play exactly? I forgot.
final. They
Real
played.
Madrid, yeah. Since they played Real Madrid, right? It's weird to call because you look at Dortmund, they're in a new position. Like, to be fair, compared to towards PSG, they don't have such a star-studded team, right? You look at their entire team, I feel like it's gonna be they have to churn out the results. And PSG would will like mostly likely be the favorites with having come back against Barcelona. Been they've been, to be fair, both the games they played. The first round of 16 against Sociedad and against Barcelona, they were the dominating team overall. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one to call. So it's going to be like whoever just shows up on the day, kind of thing.
Dude, I completely agree with Adi. I don't think it's as much Dortmund's. We don't really need to talk about Dortmund. I think it's all about whether PSG show up or not. I think it's about whether Mbappe shows up, whether Dembele shows up. Vitinha, I think, has been really good for PSG throughout the knockouts. I think it's about whether these guys show up. If they don't show up, I think Dortmund win because when they don't show up, PSG are terrible. Like they can you can I think teams can walk through them. So Rishi, where do you see this going? For me, I actually would favor Dortmund because I just can't trust PSG.
To be honest, I was like this Luis Enrique's PSG has been a lot more like whenever I watch them, they've been a lot more disciplined than the previous PSG teams. Like under Poch, under Galtier, under Tuchel, you can say they were a bit more compact, but again, they were losing their heads in the big moments. And of course, we are going to find out if they have the composure, if they have that next level of composure in this leg. But so far, from what I have at least seen, they're a lot more composed on the ball. They're a lot more disciplined on the ball. You can see that this is beginning to look like a Luis Enrique team, like except like their forwards who are not contributing that much into pressing, that much into winning the ball back as soon as they lose it. Like at least on the ball they're having their rotations in the like between midfielders and defenders, between the midfielders and forwards. So this is beginning to look like a Luis Enrique team, a bit more of a cohesive team than like the like moments, like the players showing up kind of a knockout kind of a team. So that is, at least for me, has been a positive in terms of PSG. Like and the midfielders have been really good, like you said. Like Vitinha has been good in the first leg. Kang Lian was good, and second leg, Zaire Emery came in, right? He was also looking very positive. And yeah, of course, in the big moments, these senior players, Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, are going to have to come clutch. But I think this PSG side is a little bit more like technically forward, a bit more tactically more disciplined than at least the previous PSG teams. Like for whatever reason it may be, maybe the luxurious front three could like weren't contributing. Maybe the dressing room had too much of power. Whatever the reasons are, I feel this time they're a little bit more disciplined to watch.
Okay. So
So
you're saying PSG.
yeah, I still think PSG go through.
PSG Dortmund then after that.
For me, it's gonna be Dortmund. Again, I do, to be fair, even though you can put it on, through the results that is like more of a new PSG. You look at the first two game legs they played. I mean, Real Sociedad and they played Barcelona. Both teams are teams that don't press high. They don't have a real, a pressing, cohesive pressing. It was pretty easy for them to sustain pressure on the ball. But you can see it's the same old problems, both the legs. They conceded silly goals against Barcelona.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they could have conceded one or two more goals in the first leg against Barca. And second leg, they just got lucky through the red card of Arago. And then the entire game collapsed for Barcelona. That's where they got through. You look at overall the team, dude, they're just a very small team, in terms of height. Even the center backs and their midfield three, they're all pretty short. And I just think overall, as Rishi said, tactically they seem great. They do in terms of on the ball. That's because again the midfield three stitching better, and it seems like they can supply it. Again, it's back to supplying Mbappe, and that's what they've been doing pretty well. But the issue with PSG is I don't think they can sustain counter attacks again.
Mm.
Centre back seems just too weak. I think Marquinhos is just not there, and even right now they play Baraldo as a left centre back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of them, I don't think they're that great enough. Again, and then you look at the fullbacks. Maybe Nuno Mendes is very great attacking, but he's also a bit suspect in his defensive skills, ability, and same thing with Hakimi. So you see the back four are always going to be there on the counter attacking. I mean, always be susceptible to the counter. And you see Dortmund, you see any Bundesliga team, they like playing counter attack a lot. The entire league of Bundesliga is built on counter attack.
Transition.
So that's one thing where I think it's going to be an edge for Dortmund. And secondly, again, when you look at the keeper, Donnarumma again is a very suspect goalkeeper. He's very inconsistent in my opinion. He lacks quality in those crucial moments. Happened again in the first leg with Barcelona, and maybe you can say a bit harsh, but again, he could have done better for the first goal in the second leg, which Rafinha scored. So I just feel like overall as a team, it's still those problems are there, in terms of
Mm.
counter attacking. And dude, that's why I think Dortmund, as being underdogs, I feel like they're just going to work better as a team. Uh,
Yeah.
Edge through because they've been playing well in the UCL. I mean, not in the league for sure. They're
Yes.
very consistent in the league. They play well one game, the next game they just drop off. Like yesterday, they lost 4-1. Day before yesterday. So they're very inconsistent in the league. But when it comes to the league, I just feel like I mean, in the UCL, they can. That's the thing. Just churn out a result as a cohesive team. So I just think Dortmund can go through.
Let's see. Adi saying Dortmund. Rishi saying PSG. I'm going Dortmund as well. Gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. We'll of course come back after the first legs, discuss again, and probably predict again and see where we stand. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Before the first leg, thought we'd just do this. Little quick predictions. Yeah, I mean, of course, a couple of interesting semifinals to look forward to. It'll be fun. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and share the video. Subscribe to Sports Company as well. See you guys.